It was a crisp November afternoon. The sun cast long shadows over the quiet suburban streets of Mountain Gate, California. Sherri Papini, a young mother of two, laced up her running shoes. It was a routine she knew by heart, a jog along the familiar paths near her home. Her husband, Keith, was at work, and the kids were at daycare. It was her time, a slice of serenity in the chaos of everyday life. As she set off, the wind whispered through the trees, carrying the scent of autumn leaves. Her blonde ponytail bounced in rhythm with her stride, her mind adrift in thought. It was a day like any other, or so she thought. Hours later, the sun began to dip below the horizon. The usual time for Sherri's return came and went. Keith, his heart pounding with a growing unease, checked the kids' rooms, then the entire house. Twice. No Sherri. Panic clawed at his throat. He called her cell phone, the shrill ring echoing in the empty house, straight to voicemail. He tried again and again, his hope dwindling with each unanswered call. As darkness fell, casting long, ominous shadows across Mountain Gate, the search for Sherri Papini began. News of Sherri's disappearance spread through Mountain Gate like wildfire. Neighbors gathered on street corners, their faces etched with worry and disbelief. How could a young mother vanish into thin air in broad daylight? Theories, like the whispers of the wind, began to circulate. Some clung to the hope that she had simply gotten lost during her run, her memory playing tricks on her. Others, their imaginations fueled by fear, spoke of a stranger lurking in the shadows, waiting to snatch an unsuspecting victim. The police, their faces grim, investigated every lead, however small. They scoured the area, interviewed neighbors, and analyzed phone records. Flyers with Sherri's smiling face and a plea for information appeared on every telephone pole and storefront window. The community, united by fear and a shared sense of helplessness, organized search parties. Amidst the speculation and fear, one question remained unanswered. What happened to Sherri Papini? As the days stretched into weeks, the investigation into Sherri's disappearance intensified. The FBI joined the Shasta County Sheriff's Office, bringing with them their expertise and resources. Every detail of Sherri's life was scrutinized, her relationships dissected under the harsh glare of the media spotlight. Her husband, Keith, became a person of interest, his every move watched, his every word analyzed for inconsistencies. The pressure mounted, the relentless scrutiny chipping away at his composure. He maintained his innocence, his pleas for his wife's safe return echoing the anguish in his eyes. The investigation took a sinister turn when a few strands of blonde hair were found on a dirty piece of cloth miles from where Sherri was last seen. Forensic analysis confirmed it. The hair belonged to Sherri. The discovery, far from providing answers, only deepened the mystery. The idyllic facade of Mountain Gate had crumbled, revealing the dark underbelly of uncertainty. The investigation continued to uncover more perplexing clues. A homeowner, cleaning out their garage, stumbled upon a blue bandana tucked away in a dusty corner. It was the same brand that Sherri was known to wear while running. Had the bandana been planted? Or was it a careless mistake made by someone trying to dispose of evidence? The police remained tight-lipped. They followed every lead, every whisper, every rumor, desperate for a break in the case. They analyzed cell phone records, trying to piece together Sherri's last movements. The media, like vultures circling a carcass, descended upon Mountain Gate, their cameras capturing every tear, every heartbreak. The case, once a straightforward missing persons report, had transformed into a complex puzzle. The mystery of Sherri Papini had captured the nation's attention, but the answer to the question that haunted everyone, where was she, remained elusive. Thanksgiving came and went, the empty chair at the Papini family table a stark reminder of their missing loved one. The festive spirit was replaced by a somber atmosphere of grief and uncertainty. The Christmas tree, adorned with twinkling lights and cherished ornaments, stood as a painful symbol of hope and despair. Keith, his face etched with worry and exhaustion, continued to plead for Sherri's safe return. He appeared on countless news programs, his voice hoarse but filled with unwavering love for his missing wife. He clung to the hope that she was still alive, that somewhere, somehow, she was fighting to come home. The community, their initial shock giving way to a quiet determination, refused to let Sherri's memory fade. They organized candlelight vigils, their flickering flames a testament to their enduring hope. They tied yellow ribbons around trees, a symbol of remembrance and a beacon of hope for her safe return. Yet, as the days turned into weeks, the gnawing fear that Sherri was gone forever began to take hold. Then, on Thanksgiving morning, a glimmer of hope flickered in the darkness. A motorist driving along a desolate stretch of highway spotted a figure on the side of the road, frantically waving for help. It was Sherri. She was emaciated, her body bruised and battered, her blonde hair chopped short. The news of her miraculous reappearance spread like wildfire, igniting a wave of relief and jubilation across the nation. The community of Mountain Gate erupted in celebration, their prayers seemingly answered. Sherri was rushed to the hospital, her frail body clinging to life. She was treated for dehydration, malnutrition, and multiple injuries, including a brand seared into her skin. As doctors worked tirelessly to stabilize her condition, the world waited with bated breath for her to recount the harrowing ordeal she had endured. Everyone was eager to hear her story, to finally unravel the mystery that had captivated the nation. Sherri's return was met with a mixture of elation and disbelief. The community of Mountain Gate, starved for good news, embraced her with open arms. Yellow ribbons fluttered in the breeze, now symbols of triumph and resilience. Candlelight vigils transformed into joyous celebrations, the air thick with relief and gratitude. But as the initial euphoria subsided, a sense of unease began to creep in. Sherri's account of her abduction, while terrifying, was also strangely vague. She claimed to have been kidnapped by two Hispanic women who held her captive in a small, windowless room. She described her captors in detail, but despite her vivid recollections, authorities struggled to corroborate her story. There were inconsistencies, details that didn't quite add up. The police, while publicly supportive of Sherri's account, began to harbor their own doubts. As the investigation into Sherri's alleged abduction continued, inconsistencies in her story began to unravel. The details she provided, once vivid and compelling, started to crumble under scrutiny. The police, their suspicions growing, discovered evidence that contradicted her claims. Cell phone records placed her in locations she claimed she had never been. Surveillance footage captured her on camera during times she was supposedly being held captive. The pieces of the puzzle, once seemingly scattered, were starting to form a disturbing picture. The media, which had once championed Sherri's story, now turned on her, their headlines screaming accusations of deception and fraud. The public, once sympathetic, felt betrayed, their empathy replaced by anger and resentment. Sherri, faced with irrefutable evidence, finally cracked. In a stunning confession, she admitted that she had made the entire story up. The truth, when it finally emerged, was more shocking than anyone could have imagined. Sherri, consumed by guilt and remorse, confessed that she had staged her own abduction, concocting an elaborate tale of kidnapping and torture. She had inflicted injuries upon herself to make her story more believable, going to extraordinary lengths to deceive her family, her community, and the nation. Her motive, she claimed, was a desperate attempt to escape the mundane realities of her life. She had been unhappy, overwhelmed by the pressures of motherhood and marriage. In a moment of misguided desperation, she had chosen to vanish, to create a new narrative for herself. The fallout from her confession was swift and brutal. The community of Mountain Gate, once united in their support, felt betrayed and manipulated. The yellow ribbons that had once symbolized hope now hung limply, symbols of a trust shattered. Sherri's actions had far-reaching consequences, wasting valuable law enforcement resources and inflicting immeasurable pain on those who loved her most. In the aftermath of Sherri Papini's confession, the nation grappled with a whirlwind of emotions: anger, betrayal, confusion. How could a young mother, a seemingly ordinary woman, weave such an intricate web of lies? What drove her to fabricate a story so harrowing, so unbelievable, yet so convincing? The answers, like missing pieces of a puzzle, remain elusive. Some speculate that she craved attention, that she yearned to be the center of a national drama. Others believe she was struggling with mental health issues, her actions a desperate cry for help. Whatever the reason, her story serves as a chilling reminder that truth can be stranger than fiction. The case of Sherri Papini is a stark reminder of the power and peril of deception. It is a story about the fragility of trust, the allure of attention, and the devastating consequences of our choices. And while some questions may never be answered, the impact of her actions continues to reverberate, a haunting echo of a lie that spiraled out of control.